Hey gang, and welcome to week 5. Sorry that I missed you all last week, and I'm sorry that this is an intro-less, recorded on a phone outside video. But Jake, why are you outside and why haven't we seen you in a couple weeks? Frankly, my schedule's been pretty packed to the gills. Mostly with fun stuff. For example, yesterday, I built stairs. I built stairs. Myself. Ain't nothing you can't learn on YouTube, kids. Uh, yeah, see, so when we come out to like feed the chickens and gather eggs from the coop here, we come from this door from the house that's had nothing here for a decade and a half. I built stairs. Also, Tyler and Sarah Lindholm had their inaugural Oktoberfest, and that was a great time. A beautiful, beautiful evening, breezy, warm, with live music, playing bags, playing Hammerschlagen. Great time. Tyler, if you're watching, thanks for the invite. Do it next year. We'll be there. But I'm back this week. A bit rushed. Kickoff is coming right up. But I wanted to share some thoughts, and frankly, I wanted an excuse to finally crack this beer. Haley and I got this weeks ago, and I've been dying to try it. It's from Clown Shoes Brewing. They had the Imperial Stout that I absolutely adored last year. Like, probably one of the top 5 beers that I've had while doing this ridiculous video series. This is their Clown Shoes Luchador at Sunrise. It's an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. It gets better. With cinnamon, vanilla, ancho, and chipotle chilies. And I have just been... Every time I open the fridge, I look at it and think, gosh, that sounds delicious, doesn't it? So, skull feeleth there. Let's give it a taste. They've done it again. That is so rich. I don't get the cinnamon or the chilies much, I'll be honest. Though the vanilla, 100%. This is... It's so thick you can almost chew it. That is delicious. And of course, the art is always comic booky and interesting. Okay, so I'm outside. As I mentioned, it was beautiful last night for Oktoberfest. It's even, if possible, as gorgeous today. This long sleeve shirt maybe a bit too warm. It is beautiful out, and honestly, it's good because I might need to take a halftime angry walk because the Vikings are really disappointing this year. I believe where we're at as a team, we are a litmus test team. I'm gonna keep walking so I don't have the catio in the background here. It seems very prison breaky. What I mean by litmus test team is if you beat the Vikings, you're probably a good team. If you lose to the Vikings, you're probably a bad team. Conversely, I think with the Vikings, we have beat one team, the Seahawks, and that was really exciting at the time because the Seahawks have kind of had our number for a decade running. But it would seem that the Seahawks maybe are not as good a team as they have been in years past when they've beaten us. Now, we should still take the victory and enjoy it. Feels good. But it seems like we're going to beat the Lions today. We should beat the Lions today. We're a better team. But I think it's going to be a rough ride from there on out. If the Vikings had a decent offensive line, I think we could go very far, which I guess is the point that I really want to make. It's a dead horse that I have beaten. I don't think there's a problem with Zimmer and Spielman. I put out on social media last week that the Vikings needed to beg, borrow, steal, draft, trade, whatever they have to do to get an offensive line, because how is it Kirk Cousins' fault for not getting a win when he has his own offensive lineman being thrown at him? And yes, Myles Garrett and the rest of the Seahawks or the Browns defensive line is really, really good. But come on, Myles Garrett was picking up offensive linemen and throwing them at Kirk Cousins towards the end of the game there, and he's got 2 seconds to get the ball off. Not his fault. But the rest of the team is performing quite well, I think. I was told that Mike Zimmer's defense is old and dusty, and the league has figured it out, and it's not a challenge to play against them anymore. And then he shut down the Seahawks. Again, maybe not as good as we thought they were. And the Browns probably should have had more points if boy, I'm having a rough morning. If Baker Mayfield hadn't overthrown OBJ a few times, they probably should have had more points. Anyway, the Vikings defense is doing fine given the relative shakeup that they've endured the last couple of years. All I'm saying is, if the Vikings had a better offensive line, they would be in a much better spot now, standings-wise, score-wise, and I think all of this talk about firing Zimmer and Spielman would be way, way reduced. So anyway, it is flippin' gorgeous outside. If you find yourself getting into that tilt over the Vikings and how they're underperforming, take a walk. Not a lot of October days you get that are t-shirt and shorts weather, or dare I say, sleeveless shirt weather. Sun's out, guns out. Thank you all for watching. Skull feeleth there. It's almost too warm for a stout. Go Vikings.